This block has been around for over 100 years and I love that. But one of my favorite things is taking a traditional block and depending on the fabric you use, you can give a completely different feel. Stick around if you'd like to see how I make this Rolling Stone quilt block. Hey everyone, it's Tessa with Grace Company. Today I'm going to show you exactly how I made this quilt block, a little bit of the block's history, and exactly how to assemble it so you can make your own. This is a traditional quilt block called the Rolling Stone. It finishes at 10 inches. Let's talk about the Rolling Stone block because it's a classic for a reason. It's basically a 9-patch idea dressed up a little bit. Has a center square, 4 spoke units on the sides, and 4 corners with a diamond peeking out. Those corners give it that turning, rolling motion like the block is caught mid-tumble. That's where the name comes from. Okay, now I have my pieces laid out exactly like a 9-patch. First, let's focus on making our corner units. So I'm just gonna get these pieces moved out of the way. And all of the cutting instructions can be found in the free pattern that is linked in the description below. Sometimes you have to click on more in order to find that pattern. First, let's cut our triangle pieces. You are going to take these green squares and from corner to corner, you're going to cut them in half on that diagonal. I am just lining my ruler up, just cutting like that. Okay, now that we have our triangles cut, this is the goal. This is what we are going for. We will be sewing 4 of these triangles onto every side of these white squares. This is what I like to do. I take one of my squares, fold it in half, and I just lightly finger press. And then I can take one of my triangle pieces and do the same thing. I fold it in half, finger press. So now I've got a halfway point here and a halfway point here. And then right sides together, place that triangle right along the edge, matching those edges, and aligning those lines that I just finger pressed. And we can do that for all 4 of these squares, and we're gonna chain piece. Prior to this, because I knew I would be sewing on the bias, I did take the time to starch my fabric before cutting it out. I just really find that that helps anytime I'm sewing on the bias, which is this edge right here. All right, let's take these over to the sewing machine and get these sewn. Now that we've got those sewn, we are going to do the opposing side first. So I'm gonna sew this triangle on that side. Sometimes when I get into a groove with chain piecing, I won't always take the time to finger press because you get pretty good at visualizing how much overhang you need to have that in the middle, but I wanna show you what will yield you the best results. And I do think that is taking the time to finger press and find that center point. All right, now let's get these sewn on. Once you have 2 triangles sewn on those opposing sides, we are pressing towards the green fabric, the darker fabric. And I am fighting the urge to not iron. I am actually pressing here. Now that these are pressed, it's time to sew on the remaining triangles. And it's a similar process. I just finger press to find that center, and we will get those sewn on. Same thing, we're just gonna press these out. All right, I'm gonna move on to the next section, our spoke pieces. Pretty straightforward. You're gonna take 2 of these pieces, place them right sides together, and then sew a 1/4 inch seam along this long edge right here. press these towards the green fabric, and so that means the dark fabric's on top. I just set the seam, fold that over, place my iron straight down. Okay, now I'm curious, just for fun, I want to see how good my 1/4 inch seam was. I've been trying to work on my accuracy. These blocks should end up 4 inches unfinished. Not block, this unit should end up 4 inches unfinished. And it is, but I have just a little bit of overhang. So I'm just gonna take the time to trim. It really makes sewing it together into a block more enjoyable for me if I tidy things up beforehand. And when I'm tidying these up, I am ensuring that I have a 1/4 inch from the point. Let me get a pointer, my seam ripper from earlier. So can you see this little point on this white square, or the diamond now? I want to ensure that from this point to the edge of the unit is a 1/4 inch on all 4 sides. So I am taking the time to line up a 1/4 inch marker here, a 1/4 inch marker here, right here on this point, and on this point as well. And this line right here, the 2 inch line, is going from point to point, and so is that one. So everything is squared up nicely. As you can see, there's just a little bit of excess. And that excess is most likely happening because we are sewing on the bias, and sometimes you just get a little bit of distortion. Even though we starched, we've got an accurate 1/4 inch, it happens. Yeah, this is gonna make sewing it into rows much more enjoyable. Okay, now let's get this laid out in our 9-patch formation. It's so cute. This strawberry fabric is adorable. Are you getting the vision? Do you see it? Look at that. Nice. Okay, simply sew it into 3 rows, and then we will sew those rows together. Now, when sewing this together, we do have a couple of points that we are being mindful of. And this is how I like to ensure accurate points for this block. You need some pins. Here's my preferred way of pinning this block. You see where these sewn lines come together and there's that little point? The goal is that when I am sewing my 1/4 inch seam, I want my needle to hit like a thread width above that point. Because then when I fold my fabric over, that folding takes up a thread or 2. And in order for my point to not disappear, I don't want to stitch right on the point. I want to sew like a thread or 2 away from the point, above the point. So I'm going to be hitting right above where those threads intersect right there. So I like to go through the point. So I'm sticking that needle right at the point. If I flip this around, you'll see my needle is coming out right at that point. And then I'm lining this up along that edge. And I'm going to take this pin and I'm going through my seam line on this bottom piece. And then I can fold my pin over. I'm also going to throw a pin back here to ensure that my edges stay lined up. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. So again, I've got this pin going through the point and then passing through this seam. That ensures that when I sew these together, this seam line will be matched up with that point, which is where I want it to be. One more thing really quickly, I thought I could show you over here better than at the machine. Along this edge, I am sewing my consistent scant 1/4 inch seam. When I get to this section, I may have to adjust and not be consistent. I might have to come over like a thread or two and then resume my consistent 1/4 inch seam once I get down here. So this is kind of the adjustment zone. We'll see what happens over here. It might land in the perfect spot. Okay, and sometimes I will use my hand wheel so that I have more control. I am pulling it this way a smidge because I can see that my needle was going to land right on the point. And I want it to just go right above. And I'm trying to be careful with my pin. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. So now I can continue on with my consistent seam. Okay, here's the big reveal. Let's see how we did with that point. It's beautiful. Look at that. Let me press this actually so you can really get the vision. All right, look at that perfect point. Is the camera really doing my point justice? Just gotta make sure it's doing it justice, you know? Does that look like a perfect point to you? There you go, perfect point. Let's get the rest of these pieces sewn. These ones are pretty straightforward. I don't have any points to worry about here, so I'm just gonna sew those. And then got another point here. So again, this is just how I like to do it. I first take my pin and I go through the point. And I like to verify and say, oh, yep, that looks right. We are good. And then I have to remind myself, wait, which way did this one go? Flip it over. And aligning the edges, just kind of let my pin sit there for a second. I like to align those. And then I take my pin and I am puncturing right at the seam line. And if I keep my pin horizontal, I can really make sure that okay, my edges are lining up here, I've got the pin through the point, and I've got it through the seam line. And then I can just fasten it like that. When you chain piece this block, it really does go pretty quick. One row done, just a couple more pieces to sew together. There's something really satisfying about having good points. All right, let's talk about pressing really quickly. For the top row and the bottom row, you are going to be pressing your seams in, which helps to reduce bulk on this end. So these seams are going in, and that means we need to press out for the middle seam, which works out because that's technically towards the darker fabric anyway. Now we are ready to sew our rows together. I am going to flip this piece over because I want this piece on top so I again can focus on getting accurate points. Couple of things. First, what I'm going to do is I am nesting those seams that I just pressed, and they are just going to nest right up against each other. So I'm going to first throw a pin right there. Now, similar thing, I'm going to take a pin that doesn't have glue on it. So I'm going to take a pin and go through that point. So again, it should look like that, where the pin is coming through right at that point. And then if I line up those edges, I can send that pin right through that sewn seam line on the other side. Perfect. Now that our rows are sewn together, we need to give it a final press. And what I am going to do is in order to still press seams to the side, which really is becoming my preferred way of pressing, especially now that I've done quilting on a long arm machine, I don't press seams as open as much anymore. I'm gonna be pressing the seams towards the center. So row 3 and row 1, those seams are pressing towards row 2, which is the center row. And I'm doing that because that will reduce bulk as much as possible. Taking my block, I have that center row facing up. I just set my seams. I can flip that over, kind of finger press, and place my iron directly up and down on those pieces. And there we have it. There is our finished rolling stone block. So cute. I love how using modern fabrics can really transform a traditional block and give it like a fresh, modern feel. If you would like to make your own, the free pattern is linked in the description below with all of the instructions that you need. Thank you so much for sewing with me today. I will see you next time.
The fun doesn't have to stop. Watch some more videos from Grace Company on our support channel, our Quilters Playground channel, and right here.